Good morning, good evening. Welcome to the second day of the virtual beach mission at Sharks. It's great to have you with us. Today we're looking at God who created the whole universe and the part that we have in that universe. So let's get started.
Hello, the fantastic sharks. Well, in the Bible passage that we look at, it mentions all the different things that God's made in the world. Now, I haven't got all of those things in my house. My house is not that big. And even if it was that big, I wouldn't be able to find all the things because it's very messy. But I do have some cupboards, which hopefully you might have in your house. And in the cupboards, you will see that there are items. And on the items, you will see that they have barcodes. Now, my challenge to you is looking at the last 4 digits of a barcode, can you find the lowest number? So that would be 0000, or the highest number 9999, or the closest to those. And I would love you to comment or let us know, maybe some pictures about what you managed to find. Oh, there we go, at the top of the marmite. There, is that higher or lower? No, it's in the middle. See if you can find any high or low numbers. I'm doing really poorly here. All of mine are about in the middle. But yeah, see if you can find the highest or the lowest. It can be any item at all. Just look for the barcodes and find it. But no cheating. I don't want you just going into your Tesco's or Morrison's or Asda and going through all of the aisles. See if you can find it in your house. If it's an item, it might be a toy or something else. Yeah, anything with a barcode. Have a look. Highest number, closest to 9999. Or lowest to 0000. Let us know.
Psalm 8. Lord, Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth. You have set your glory in the heavens. Through praise of children and infants you have established a stronghold against your enemies, to silence the foe and the avenger. When I consider your heavens, the works of your fingers, the moons and the stars of which you have set in place. What is mankind that you are mindful of them? Human beings that you care for them. You have made them a little lower than angels. You have crowned them with glory and honour. You have made rules over the works of your hands. You put everything under their feet, all flocks and herds, and animals of the wild, the birds in the sky, the fish in the sea, all that swim the paths of the seas. Our Lord, our Lord. How majestic is your name in all the earth.
During the current lockdown, I wonder how creative you've been. Have you been learning to play a new instrument? Maybe you've been creating different types of projects for your school or college work. Or maybe like me, you've been creating wonderful pieces of art. So these are some of my football kits that I spent some time creating. Now I'm sure you're sat there amazed by the wonders of my artwork. And many of you are probably wondering, how is it that I haven't been signed up by many clubs to design their new kits? But as good as my artwork actually is, there is a creator who has created a far bigger creation than my football kits. And we are all part of this big creation. And we are in a relationship with that creator, whether we know it or not. That passage that was read to us by Bryn is one of the most amazing truths in the world. And it tells us 2 main things which are completely mind-blowing. First, that there is a creator of the whole world. And secondly, that that creator cares for you and for me. So, firstly, who is that creator? Well, in that passage, which is written by King David, the one who beat Goliath and was the dad of Solomon, who we looked at yesterday, it is made clear who is responsible for the world's existence. In verse 3, it tells us, when I consider your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars which you have set in place. There can be no doubt in the minds of David, or in our minds, who this world was made by. God. God is the one who made everything on this planet and the whole universe. When I made these kits, I used things that God had created. My creation was possible because God created the whole world. Just to put it into perspective, how vast this universe is. When you look up to the stars, you can see about 5,000 stars. But the true number of stars that you can see is billions and billions and billions. You might have seen on the news quite recently that there have been some astronauts going into space to land on the International Space Station, which might not seem so far away for us, but if you wanted to travel the distance of the universe, it would take you 40 billion years to do. Now, all that space was created by God. How powerful God must be to create the universe if it takes that long to explore it all. And yet, if we look at the world around us, we have all that we need to survive, and all that we want, and everything that's in this world is created by God. Secondly, David shows us about our place in creation, and the words he says should shock and amaze us. For he says, "What is mankind that you are mindful of them? Human beings that you care for them. You have made them a little lower than the angels, and crowned them with glory and honor. You made them rule over the works of your hands and put everything under their feet." So what does that mean? Well, it shows us that we are not an accident. People might tell you that the world came into existence by chance and that people arrived on the world by chance. Well, this passage from David tells us that's anything but the actual story, and that is such amazing news. Think back to what we said about the size of the universe. It was so huge beyond our imagination, and yet God is mindful of people. He's mindful of us. He's mindful of you and me. If you're having a bad day, or if somebody's annoyed you, or you feel like nothing you do is ever good enough for people, or nobody wants to listen to you, well, understand this. God is mindful of you. He has created the whole universe, and yet he cares about you. One of my favourite songs has a verse in it which sums up God's amazing power in creation. God who made the universe, the earth, the sun, the moon and stars, has a place in his heart for me. So the big question for you, the biggest question that life can throw at you is, how do you respond? You know that God created the universe, and he created you and cares for you. Do you want to be in the right relationship with God and have that close relationship with him that he offers you? Or would you rather turn away from him and follow that earthly wisdom that we talked about last time and go your own way? The choice is for you to make. On screen now, there's going to be a series of different questions for you to look at, have a think about, and chat to each other on our Facebook page at the link below.
Hi. Trust me if I would talk about prayer. So I prayed and I thought. Then I read what Jesus said about prayer. His disciples asked him to teach them to pray, and he gave them the Lord's Prayer, which is Matthew 6, verse 9 to 15. Now, this prayer does not take very long. I timed that I can say it in 30 seconds without rushing. The first thing we notice that it starts with thinking about God and wanting things to be his way. The very next thing, though, is asking about things that might bother us. If you were one of Jesus' disciples and had given up work to follow him, you might be worried about whether you were going to have anything to eat. Give us today our daily bread. Well, that might not be our first worry, but homework might be, or problems at home, or your dad's job, or an exam, or problems with a girl or a boy, or all manner of things. We're told in the Bible not to be anxious, but to pray. Pray first before trying to tell anyone else. I have to keep reminding myself. You might like to look at Philippians chapter 4, verse 8, which speaks about this. However, before even teaching the Lord's Prayer, Jesus tells us to pray in secret. That's in Matthew 6, verse 6. This is especially useful with those problems and dreams that you do not want anybody else to know you have. Writing down is useful, but the most secret ones can be written in code. I thought we could practice a code. This one has got two parts to it. What's called a Caesar shift, because Julius Caesar used it, and a code word or phrase. You need 2 clean sheets of paper. Squared is best, lined is better than plain. Make a column of 24 spaces. Then the alphabet in order. Think of a favourite Bible verse. I chose Proverbs 3, verse 5. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and don't lean on your own understanding. You might have remember learning it at Beach Mission. Now make another column beside the first. I count down 3 spaces because it's Proverbs 3. Then I write out the first word, which is trust. Discard any repeats, so I have Trus. These go down in the column next. Then the remaining letters in order without the T, R, U and S's. To write in code, choose the letters in the jumbled column that correspond with the letters which are in the normal alphabet column. Decoding is the other way round. Here is my example, beautifully written out, not by me.
That brings us to the end of today's session. Don't forget, at 7 o'clock this evening, we have our live Zoom session. The details are below. And then our next session is tomorrow morning, our pre-recorded session. So we hope to see many of you there on tonight's Zoom.